Cook, Department Chair for English. It serves all of Dallas College.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so tell me if these are familiar. Alexa, what's the weather like today? Rainy. I do this every day. Siri, how do I get to the Dallas College Northlake campus? Or, hey Google, haven't used that in a while, but hey Google, how do you say artificial intelligence in Mandarin? That is our life these days. We are using AI every moment of every day. It's a conversation being had, it seems like never before. But I want to show you that it's been around for quite some time. Since 1950, that was the first time the idea was brought to life by Alan Turing. I don't know if you saw the movie Imitation Game, but he developed that, now called the Turing test. So in 1966, we had our first computer program and our first robot that could have conversations with humans. They were AI. We all remember, maybe not all of us in the room on the front row, but IBM Watson was developed in 2010, and in 2011, he played Jeopardy and crushed at Jeopardy, right? And then it was 2011 that Apple introduced us all to Siri, that gets us where we need to go when we're in our cars, or maybe just mine, I don't know. Okay, there we go. So it doesn't matter what college campus, Dallas College campus you're walking down today, there are conversations about AI happening. A lot. We are talking about how AI can write an entire essay, how it can solve complex algebra problems, how it can create and produce a video and create art that is stylistic and is very, very similar to the original if you know the correct prompts to put in. It's translating for us, it's making life so much easier to travel, right? We know that. That's AI. But in the hallways of Dallas College, there are conversations in regards to ethics, in regards to instruction, in regards to learning. What does that mean for us as a human species, but what does it mean for our students and the next generation of people in the workforce? And so there are concerns. We're losing our capabilities to write, capabilities to solve math. Maybe we're not thinking critically, independently anymore. And even the fear about creativity, a loss of creativity, right? But at the same time, those conversations are taking place. If you'll stop long enough to just listen, you're gonna hear instructors talking about the potential for AI in the classroom. You're gonna hear student success advisors talking about coaches, talking about the inevitability of it in the workforce and what their students are gonna need. There's a lot of potential and possibility for it that we want to talk about today as much as we, even more so than the fear of it, because there is so much going on. The potential for it, yes, but there's already so much going on at Dallas College as we speak. So today's panel is going to, there we go. We're going to talk about the benefits and the challenges of AI in regards to education, how AI is being used here at the college, and then just even the potential in all areas of education, okay? So before we dig into that, I'm going to introduce you to our panelists, and because I can't see without my glasses, here we go. Okay. There. All right. Shazia Ali. She is English faculty at Dallas College Eastfield campus and has been teaching at the collegiate level for more than 18 years now. She received her PhD in Humanities and Literature from the University of Texas at Dallas and is a certified trainer of cooperative learning and conflict resolution. She has experience in teaching face-to-face and online modalities and is Quality Matters and AQ certified, which if you're a faculty member, you know what that is. If you're not, it's certified to teach online. In other words, she's brilliant at it. Shazi's been nominated and received several teaching awards. She's a published poet in the Dallas and Fort Worth Metroplex, and her experience with bringing AI into the classroom is focused on creating equity within the classroom. So let's welcome Shazi. Professor Okay, next. I have to remember. Is Tremain Davis. He is as I eat the microphone. He's a 4-time founder, investor, speaker, and community engagement strategist. Tremain has spent the past 2 decades building businesses and empowering people. Today, Tremain is the CEO of Think PGC, a nonprofit social impact consulting firm which builds community engagement models that drive economic development through innovation. He works around the country creating pathways for all stakeholders to engage meaningfully and equitably in the regions they serve. He works with corporations, colleges and universities, local governments, and other nonprofits. Tremain is also the Chief Strategy Officer of University Startups, an ed tech firm based in Maryland. Their mission is to use AI-powered programming to empower 3 million learners to go to college or gain the skills needed for higher levels of employment. Right. Yeah. The technology focus areas are college readiness, workforce development, and social entrepreneurship. He's a national speaker on the topics of entrepreneurship, equity, community engagement, and economic development strategies, and teaches entrepreneurship at multiple universities. So those of y'all on the front may want to ask him a few questions after the panel discussion. Tremain believes in the power of using business models as a lever to solve societal needs, as business models are the only sustainable way to solve big problems at scale. So let's welcome him to Dallas College, Norfolk. And next is Rhonda Hayes. She hails from the IT sector, brings to the table a wealth of expertise across various domains. She possesses well-honed programming skills specializing in air traffic, e-commerce development, and database design. Additionally, she holds both a project management professional and an Oracle Certified Associate certification. Notably, she's created a risk management course which is still taught today for the PMI Dallas chapter. She has a track record of successfully managing projects in the fields of e-commerce, the airline industry, and the financial sector. Her background as a business analyst ensures that requirements are diligently collected and precisely defined. No, there's more. No, wait, there's more.
Oh, wait, there's more.
Her proficiency in AI has been instrumental in shaping early online shopping carts based on role-based systems. And presently, some of you may recognize her, she imparts her knowledge by teaching computer science courses at Dallas College. Since 2010, she's also authored an ebook that remains a valuable resource in use. So welcome, Professor Hayes. For being here, and I love the wide range of experience and expertise, and I'm ready to dig in just immediately. So I'm going to start with our guest to Dallas College, Tremain, and ask, based on your area of expertise, what do you think AI's potential is for college students?
Can you hear me? All right. So I think that, first of all, AI is unlimited right now because we're kind of in the Wild Wild West. So really, I don't think there's anybody on the planet who can really answer that question, because we're just at the precipice. We're just getting at the beginning. We're just getting to, even imagining what's possible. So when you think about, these young people, you think about students and adding their, future focus to what we're thinking about in the AI space, it really becomes a recipe for unlimited possibilities. So I believe that at this level, when you talk about college students and AI, I really think that like we're looking at the future when we're looking at these students and these young people sitting in the front row here. This is the future.
Great, thank you. Rhonda or Shazia?
Can you hear me? I don't know if this is, do I need this? Okay, so, I need it? Yes. This might be better.
There you go,
Okay.
we'll just share that one.
So I agree with what Tremain said. However, AI, as Angie mentioned, has been in existence for a long time. We've been using it. Whenever we call a company and we have to press one for this or one for that, that's old AI. So I dealt with AI, okay, boomer, in the olden days of shopping carts, and it was rule-based. But I totally agree. I promote AI in my classroom. And I agree that these students, it's not going anywhere. So I'm not going to tell my students don't use it. If I say don't, they're going to do. Okay? And the possibilities are endless. I would love to see AI from a college for tutoring, dynamic scheduling, where a student can hold a conversation with the machine, because it's a machine, and we can make it human-like. As far as the fear, I have to go here really quickly, there's a fear with everything that appears to be new. But the more we educate with these types of town halls and sessions and whatnot, we can bring people, including faculty, around so they can use it to their students' benefits and to their benefit. And it's not just for colleges, AI is in every sector.
Okay, thank you. That's already been a lot has been said, but I want to add one more element to this discussion, and especially that question, because AI's potential changes how teaching exists. We're changing the way we teach because of AI. So that's the biggest change that is happening in college education that I see happening right now as of this moment. The way I was teaching last semester is different than the way I'm teaching right now. So it's not just different for students, it's different for faculty as well. We have to be cognitive of the fact that AI is a tool that is in the hands of every single person here. And so my way of teaching 5 years ago is already outdated. So I have to change the way I teach to cater to the needs of the student, and the student being these wonderful students in the front row, but you have a different way of learning. Your brains are wired differently because you have been more comfortable with AI than I was 20 years ago when I was a college student. So that changes everything that's happening in the classroom. And that's the fun part of it. It's not something to be fearful of, it's something to be excited about. So as you said, endless possibilities.
I want to add something to that, because I think you bring up a really good point, actually both of you all, and that is the pace that this innovation is happening. I mean, it is happening at lightning speed. Like, I'm reading articles, that's like, oh, this groundbreaking thing has happened in AI development. And, I look at the date, and the date is from like 2 weeks ago. This groundbreaking from a week ago. And it's like week over week, there's new development. So what you're bringing up is a really, really, really good point about the pace of the innovation, and just how fast things are developing. If I can do one anecdote, what do you think? Because we've got 30 seconds. So, just to kind of give you guys like a real world sort of picture of this. I mean, 1904, what happens? The plane is invented, controlled man flight, Kitty Hawk, everybody knows that, North Carolina. 1969, we land on the moon. Took us 66 years to go from, flying to landing on the moon, all right? Fast forward, 1996, what is the internet? Nobody knew what it was in 1996. 14 years later, 2010, everybody has the internet in their pocket. That happened in 14 years. And so now you fast forward another 10 years and you're talking about AI, the development is happening day by day, week by week. So how do we put systems in place? How do we put things in place so that we can capture that kind of movement and that kind of development? Because I think it's an asset, and I'd love to hear you guys' opinion on that. But I think the pace of it is actually an asset, not really something to be fearful of. It's something that can be an asset. It's moving quickly, but I think that that's something that can be an asset.
Definitely. I'm gonna go off something you said, Rhonda, about I would love to see this at Dallas College. Our students could go in and get, scheduling and et cetera, et cetera. So I wanna ask you guys, what do you think the potential for AI is at all levels, not just inside the classroom at Dallas College, but at all levels of Dallas College and various other arenas? What do you? I know what you hope for. What else do you see, or what are you wanting?
So I see it from an admin, people that are in charge of strategic planning and tactical planning, to stay ahead of our competition, or to know what our competition is doing, because that's how we're going to grow. That's how we get better. Again, it's not just for faculty, it's not just for students, it's for all levels. And that's what my chair, Rod Lamb, who's sitting over here, we did a back to school, or Blue Green Week, the conference day. I'm sorry, Blue Green Week. The conference day, and we did a session on it. And we had it for all levels, for all staff, for all roles, and how it can be useful. And also, with Tremain, when you talked about the speed, yes, the speed. My chair sends me emails all the time. He just copies me on all of this, or he forwards them to me about AI. And it is moving at such a quick pace.
Yeah.
And there's Dr. Luckett.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to mention what we talked about, because Tremain mentioned systems. I think it was you that mentioned systems. We have to look at AI, the technology, in the form of how is it going to fit into our system. We used to call them an information system, but again, okay, boomer. But now they're called ecosystems, which includes, you have to see how is it going to fit in what we currently do, our current practices. How can we automate them? Not just for the student, but for the faculty, for the presidents, for the chancellor, for our community. I would love to see the early college, so we can assess them coming in, the early college students. So AI, again, the opportunities are endless. It's not like we're being asked to build it. We're being asked to use it, to attempt to use it.
And
Go ahead, and then I'll.
okay.
We can talk all day.
Yeah, we can talk about that. So this is a big one, and for me, I think this particular piece of the conversation, I think it is one where we can start talking about collaboration, because I really feel like a lot of times when you think about building those systems and building the different things that are going to manage, like a Dallas College or any of these college universities, you have leadership doing retreats and doing different things to kind of figure out what the strategies look like, but leadership is in our age category, my age and older, how do we get the students at the table during this conversation? I mean, the students use this, whether you like it or not, every day. We've been the big fear of professors, I talk to them all around the country, is they're using it to do papers, they're using it to do, and I mean, the students are really versed in the capabilities, if you will, of today's version of AI. Let's bring them to the table. How do we bring them into the conversation so that they can help us build the new systems for Dallas College, so that they can tell us how it could work better for them as a user, as a student in this community, making them a stakeholder in what the system looks like as we go forward.
Those are all great points, and I'm going to bring it back to Rhonda's point about focusing on the existing systems of Dallas College. I think with AI, our challenge is trying to fit it into the existing systems. And with Dallas College specifically, I do feel that we're in the very, very great position of already making a lot of changes. We're already building new systems, so this is the perfect time to fit this into it. But how do we do it and what is best for it? And that's back to Tremain, bringing students on the table. Because those are our real people. Those are the ones who are going to be facing the effects of AI. So if we have, back again to Rhonda's point about advising, and that's my big one, I think we need advising through AI. Because our advisors are overworked. They are overworked, and we constantly hear these complaints from students that I'm never able to get to have a full conversation with my advisor. I can just have a 5-minute conversation and then I move on. But there's a lot of systems in place that AI can address. But again, that's back to the leadership. How do you bring everybody back on that table and begin that conversation? So I see it, I'm looking at all the leaders.
And I'll just mention on your point there, just a real world case study of something we're doing with our ed tech. So we've actually built an AI powered virtual college and career counselor, which is exactly what you're talking about. And it's because it's a need that we've seen all around the country. And what'll happen is that there's just not enough. It's not enough bandwidth. It's not enough career coaches. It's not enough counselors, social workers at the high school and at the college level. So if you've got that one college and career coach who's got 400 kids on their caseload, and they've got to see all of them in a semester, I mean, you can give each one of them a minute and a half. You know what I mean? So how do you do that? So these are the types of tools that we're building literally as we speak to help mitigate that problem and to help increase the bandwidth of that college and career counselor. So we're using AI to be able to do that and work at scale in communities that generally don't have these resources.
Can I
That's
say
right.
one more thing?
Yes.
Okay, so Dr. Luckett, she has a team together that she put together and to see how we can fit various, not just AI, but various technologies into Dallas College ecosystem. And Tremain, you mentioned the student. So I'm bringing students to the table because that's our customer.
Yeah.
So I remember, I don't remember exactly when the ATM came out. My mother was in banking, and when they decided to, what was the problem? Customers could not get to the bank with the hours they worked. And so who did they need to talk with and to get requirements from? The customer. It was for the customer. And when you leave these important stakeholders off, you'll have a project built, but it's not going to be operational because it's not going to be what they needed.
Yeah.
We have to see students, what do you guys need? What do you need from us? How can we help you? Okay, so thank you, Dr. Luckett.
And I think that's wonderful. Speaking of our generation, remember those suggestion boxes that used to be everywhere? We might need to be doing something much more today in new school, but seriously soliciting that feedback from you, the student. What is that experience and what do you need? What would make your educational career, your educational journey less stressful? What would make the time you spend registering for classes, less timely, things like that. So I think that's a brilliant idea, and I think it's something that the college could put into place pretty quickly.
And that multi-generational sort of collision of ideas helps everybody.
It does.
It helps everybody. Like, it helps the teachers to know more about what the students need, helps the students to see the viewpoints of the teachers, and I think that collaborative approach is really how you move it forward.
But also bringing in someone from the outside, yourself.
I'd love to be here.
Because I come from the outside, so I'm taking my experience, but bringing you in to see how you're using it, how you built it to fit the needs of the community and people that you deal with.
Absolutely.
And just to add to that, also faculty and advisors collaboration, AI can do that. As faculty, I don't know what problems my students are facing. Maybe they're having a conversation with their advisor that I'm not aware of unless they come to me. And AI can actually build that bridge between faculty and advisors, so together we can help students as opposed to separately.
Love that.
I love it too. Look at it. I think we're solving some real world Dallas College problems. Okay, so we talked about the potential for AI regarding our students. What do you think the challenges are? What challenges do students face because of AI, or what challenges do we on the other side of whatever the counter or the desk may be. What are those challenges regarding this technology, very fast-paced technology?
Fear. Fear is a big challenge. Also, fear, trying to get people to buy in. I don't want to convince, I want to educate. I want to inform and let them make their own decisions because they don't need me. Also, darn, I just lost my train of thought. I hate when that
You
happens.
say
when I'm teaching.
government, you say government.
Government things.
You say government, yeah.
Collaboration.
Yeah, collaboration.
External governmental legislation, how are we going to, we're gonna have to control it because it can be used for good, but it can also be used for bad. So how are we going to control that? How are we gonna monitor that? How are we gonna measure? So we have to look at those things, and it is already in the courts. There's a school that my chair sent me, I read the article, and this school, this institution, has already said that they cannot accuse a student of using AI. Okay, something like that off the top of my head. In other words, how are we going to? We have to have conversations, and we have to have some standards from an institution. How are we going to combat these things? So there's so little known about, and again with the growth, we need to bring more people to the table, more stakeholders, and get all of the input, and then start making decisions based on that input and what it is that we are trying to achieve. What is it that we want? We're figuring that out now. And I would like some of these students to come up here, but I know we don't have that type of time, but these are the students that we want and that we need.
May I add to
Yeah,
that?
please.
Yes, I think the fear stems from ignorance.
Mhm.
They don't know enough, and we don't know enough. So when we are ignorant of what exactly the technology is, we become fearful of change. And I say we because all of us collectively, not just the students, not just the people on the other side, it's all of us collectively. And so the first step would be to educate. What exactly is AI and what does it look like at Dallas College? What does it look like from an advisor's perspective? What does it look like from a student's perspective? What does it look like from a faculty perspective? That education is necessary. And then past that education, and I'll give you an example of this. I have a few students in my class that we started with AI. We started with ChatGPT. And everyone knows ChatGPT. Raise your hand if you've ever used it. And I did raise my hand very proudly, okay? So as an English professor, I still raise my hand very proudly. So I told my students, let's go ahead and open up a ChatGPT and let's write a paragraph about how was your day? And they asked ChatGPT to do it. And wonderful, about 8 students got 8 different paragraphs. It was amazing. And so then, they were like, but isn't this cheating? And I said, well, you're doing it in front of me and we're talking about this. So let's go ahead and now change that paragraph. Let's edit it and change it and make it your own. And when they started doing that, they started finding things in ChatGPT that they said, well, this is so cold. It's not me. It's not my tone. It's not my voice. And so, you have to be able to educate them that this is not something that you have to do hiding under the table. You can do it in front of me, but then tell me what you're going to do, changing it. How is this going to benefit your skills? So that ChatGPT becomes a skill that they learn how to use in the outside world. Because at the end of the day, as faculty, I'm not just teaching them how to write. I'm teaching them to be better and good citizens of the world. I'm teaching them skills that will help them in the workforce. And when you focus on those skills, then the AI just becomes something that they need to be educated about. And I think you were saying something.
Yeah, no, that was good. So, and what happens, and I really like that point because, I've talked to teachers, countless teachers, across the country on this particular topic, and the big thing is they're using ChatGPT to do the papers. That's like the big thing. And, I advise them to do exactly what you're saying. I said, you can't run from innovation. Innovation only has one direction. It does not go in reverse. It just only goes in drive, only goes forward. And so you cannot try to keep it out of the classroom because the more you do it, the further behind you get, And so what I always advise is, let that first draft of the paper be done in ChatGPT. Now we can talk about, what results did you get out of ChatGPT versus, how you can change it and make it your own and put your own idiom of thought behind what ChatGPT is saying. So I really like that point. One thing I would say from a challenge standpoint is access. I just think that a lot of the young people, and that's who needs to be using this stuff. I'm old head now.
Okay,
I'm not quite a boomer.
You put me in my place.
No. But they need to be using this technology. ChatGPT is still, everybody says AI, ChatGPT, and it sounds like this big thing, but it's still really, really early. It's still very limited in its capabilities. ChatGPT gives you the average, that's why it always changes. It just gives you the average of what the input is, And so, what happens is that we need more input from more voices, more diverse voices around the country. So, if you have students at Dallas Community College and places where there are community-based organizations that have blocks of young people not using this thing, then ChatGPT doesn't get trained, and it doesn't get the input, and it doesn't get the thought process of the diverse pool of students that are in this room. And so the answers that come out are very skewed and very one-sided and very, yes. So, I think access is a big deal when it comes to AI because we need a bunch of different voices at the table. I spoke at DEF CON this year. So one of the largest AI conference in the U.S. and I spoke on equity and AI. So this was back in August. And, it's like 20,000 hackers there. You know what I'm saying? Like, leave your phone in the room. Do not take your laptop. Don't take it. It is literally like a big conference of hackers, way over my head. But there were not a lot of black people there.
That's what makes it so special.
And these are the people that are building the future.
That's right.
So if you don't have these voices at the table so that all communities are represented as this thing is going forward, that's where I see one of the biggest risks when it comes to AI.
Can I say,
Oh, yes.
piggyback? So that's my push for getting people into IT.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we need people in IT, and it's a wide open field,
Yep.
will always be.
Yep.
So just to piggyback off of the trained data, so AI or ChatGPT, any of the bots, they're bots. And the way they work is, if you go to ChatGPT, you won't get anything newer than 2001, because that's when the latest data. They take the data from what's out there online.
Yeah.
Guys, do not put your personal information in, okay? You don't want to do that because it's going to be in the next iteration of ChatGPT or any of the bots. So you have to think about security also, okay? So that's how it's trained. These bots are trained, and they use the data that's already out there. It scrubs the internet, okay? So you really have to be careful. It is like hackers all around.
Yes.
And no, I'm not paranoid.
Okay, since that four-letter word was brought up, ChatGPT, let's delve a little bit deeper into that for just a second. You teach English, Isaiah. You told us how you use it and the potential of it for your students. What advice would you give other instructors about ChatGPT and the use of it by students or the use of it by them in the classroom?
That's a very heavy question.
Loaded
I know
question.
There are many instructors here, and some English faculty as well. So, you know what? I'm not in a position to give advice. I will only suggest that as English faculty who are all across the U.S., not just here in Dallas, who are struggling with these kind of bots and these kind of writing apps, we need to get together and we need to begin having these conversations. The way we grade papers needs to change. The way we teach writing needs to change. And this is not going to come from one person or, again, not in a position to give advice, but in a position to ask for collaboration. Sit with the IT people, sit with people who are working on this, and as English faculty get together and see what can we do, because what's our goal at the end of the day? It is to help our students be successful writers in the workplace. That's the goal. And for that, I'm going to use all the tools that are available. I'm going to be as greedy about those tools as anyone, because that's my goal as an English faculty. I get to teach them, and I get to teach them to be stronger writers, and they're able to go and function in the workplace and be very effective communicators, written or verbal. That's the goal. And for that, we use all the tools. So hopefully that answered your question. I didn't give any advice. I'm not in a position.
I agree, not in a position to give advice. I think we kind of established that on the front end. Nobody knows. Everybody in the room, just start right now. Nobody knows. Everybody's doing the best that they can. The most advanced person on AI doesn't know anything, and that's just the truth. But if I had to say anything, I was going to say my advice, but if I was going to say anything about it, I would just encourage people to use it more and to integrate it as much as possible at every turn. And you said something that I think is really key, which is collaboration. I mean, we have to get these collisions of ideas on campus. It has to happen. How do we get the computer science department talking to the design school? That's how these ideas come about. Yes, you have to, things that aren't normally traditionally together, that's what IBM did a study recently, and what they were saying is that, and they're leaders, they're some of the people that are on the cutting edge of this stuff, and they said some of the skill sets that are not going to be perishable as AI continues to, take over different industries are things like networking, things like collaboration, those are the skill sets, those are the things that ChatGPT is just never going to be able to catch up with, at least not in my lifetime, be able to do, so how do we get multiple schools talking about this stuff and collaborating on this stuff and coming up with solutions on this stuff? Maybe we can run some challenges here on campus. We talked about some of these things, in the back, but that's how you have to really, really, really start thinking about AI, in a much more collaborative way.
So I agree. I have nothing. I'm a fraud. But again, bring the students in. And especially in the IT's in the classes, we can actually have students do a project on AI. Because AI is coding. That's all it is. It's programming. So you can have a student to do a little macro. Have AI create the macro if you're using Excel or something, and then have them to change it. Have them to change it, not using AI. So we're coming up on the fly. Who said we're flying the plane without any jet fuel or something?
Building it while we're flying.
Oh, okay, close enough. Okay. But again, I really would like to hear from the students because I want to see how AI can help them. I use it in my class, and I use it with Excel. I'm having my students using it right now. I use it to have them to do different functions. I'll give them a function, go find another function, and tell me how it's used. But then I take AI away, and you have to think about it. There's the critical thinking. So I'm doing that marketable skills portion of my class, and there's the critical thinking and the teamwork and the group work and all of that. So, but I make these things up on the fly. I'm going to be honest with you. I make them up based on how I used to work. Again, early shopping cart was AI, but it was rule-based. It wasn't like it is now. So AI has been around. The chatbots are newer, but AI has been around for a while. Not the way we know it now, though. Now we're all using it. We're trying to use it, trying to get better. Collaboration.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, so let's take that advice. We've got some students in here. Do you have anything that you would like to share with any of the panelists or even ask any of the panelists? Let anybody in this room know about your use with AI?
Don't let us down now.
I know, right?
Now you want to be quiet?
Tell us your name, please.
My name is Nomvoyo. I'm co-president of the Phi Beta Kappa Alpha Zeta Ava here in North Lake. I have a question. So I hear there's fear, obviously, because we don't know a lot about AI, but also we in college as students, we want to get these jobs. But the more AI gets, like you said, for students, for faculty to like if we want to sign up for classes and stuff like that, does that not limit us like jobs? Like how does that look when we're like advancing it and saying like promoting it? What about us as students if that's what we want to pursue?
Are you saying if you want to pursue AI as,
No, so for students, we want to get these jobs. We're here at going to college, wanting to pursue careers that possibly work at Dallas College, like student life and stuff like that. But what does that look for us as students when it comes to AI being like the next big thing? Is that not limiting us for jobs? Like, are we not getting less jobs?
Less jobs, I think that's the question.
Yeah, replacing people with AI.
oh, okay.
Yes.
So, Chris's sister, last week, Chris's sister, he's regional officer for something. I can't keep up with the titles. These people have more titles than Congress, okay? But anyway, she goes to SMU, correct? Chris's sister goes to SMU, and she came last week or the week before, I think, I don't know, for another meeting, and I was talking with her, and she's asking me about AI, basically what you're saying. Basically, will the jobs be there? Will jobs, because AI is going to take over the jobs. You know something, truthfully? Technology took over banking. Part of it. It took over tellers. There's still some tellers, but not as many. Technology takes over the coal industry, but now you have to learn that technology. So every time there is something new, there's an opportunity for us to learn other industries or other technologies. So no, AI will take over some jobs, but there are going to be more jobs created. So that's where the fear, it's not just faculty, it's just people in general. It's going to take my job, it's going to go in my brain, well maybe, but you have the opportunity. Again, who creates AI? It's not magic. People create it. What people? Programmers, software developers. You need people to think through the logic, to design it. Even if you're not a coder. Project management, you have to manage these projects. Business analysts, you have to gather the requirements. You have to set up part of Dr. Luckett, her ecosystem. All these systems of Dallas College, databases, networking, security, it's all going to factor in. So I have the utmost faith that you're going to be just fine. I'll be long gone.
I'd love to add something to that point too, and I just want to give one statistic, and this is very relevant for the question that you just asked, and that is, and I can't think of where this statistic can be found. You can look it up, but 45% of the jobs, 15 years from now, right? 15, we're talking 2035-ish, 40% of those jobs don't even exist yet. That's half. So half the jobs that you're going to be looking at 15 years from now don't even exist yet. So when I tell you, and Rhonda's right, this is not even, we haven't even taken the lid off of this thing yet, as far as the jobs that are going to be available, the industries that are going to be created, that are going to open up hundreds of thousands, millions of jobs, And another thing that AI technology does is shrinks the world. So we're not even just talking about locally now. Now you could be living in Dallas doing work in Singapore, type of thing. So it opens up global opportunity as well. So like she said, you're fine.
You'll be okay. You'll be giving me a job soon.
Absolutely.
Did you have something to add?
Yes.
Shazi?
I'm just going to say one thing. It's going to look different, but there'll be so many more opportunities. So don't even be fearful of that. And that goes for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Great advice? Question mark. Okay, yes.
The great line I read was, will AI take your job? The answer is no. Will someone who knows AI take your job? Yes. That's the key thing. Okay. The other thing I wanted to point out to you all, you had the time limit. ChatGPT was announced to the public in December of last year. It's not even a year old. And you look at the rate of adoption.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
100 million users in like weeks.
Yes.
Weeks. 100 million users, fastest growing technology in like history.
It's kind of fun. I mean,
It is, I'm
I
excited.
enjoy it.
Okay, another question.
So I'm Chris. I think one of my biggest concerns is AI making us dumber? Because if I think about my parents, right? Like I'm not able to do mental math because like I grew up with a calculator. My parents though, they can do the calculations in their head, right? And if I look at AI, I'm like, why could I like write out an essay when I could get ChatGPT to like lay out like a format and me just like edit a few details. So that's just the biggest concern, like is like AI preparing me for the real world where like I'll have the skills necessary to succeed? Or is it making me more dependent on technology versus my own innate like skills and talents? So,
That's up to you. That's just the bottom, that's up to you. We can't control that. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I'm in the classroom. Big part is up to you. I use it, but I still think. Because I trust me better than I trust ChatGPT. Okay? I have to think to write code, and I have to test it. So this goes back to, we have to change our way of teaching and also learning. So if you want to totally depend on the calculator, and when you're doing in my class Excel, and you want to use a calculator and type in the numbers, when you see that 0, you'll think next time, I better learn how to use the function. Okay, so yes, we have things, tools to automate, like your parents can do math in their head. I'm still gonna get my piece of paper out, you know. I think about that, I do, because I want my students to think and use critical thinking. But again, I think that's up to us, a big part of it. That's just my personal viewpoint.
I'd love to say.
Go ahead and then I'll add to it. No, go ahead.
They're so nice. Look how nice they are.
My mama told me
Working so
ladies
well.
first now, so
Working
you
so
know,
well.
listen, I'm not trying to get in trouble. My mama see this on YouTube, and I'm giving punishment. What I would say is that you can't think or frame. You can't frame the future looking backwards. Meaning that, my parents could do X, Y, and Z, the capabilities that they developed to do quick back of the napkin, can math and those types of things were simply because the technology didn't exist back then. Guarantee you, if they had ChatGPT, they would not be so good at back of the napkin math, and that's just because at the time, that's what it was. So you can't frame, how the future is going to look based on what was happening, what was cutting edge. At one point, calculators,
Swatch watches.
there's so many things that at the time was the cutting edge, So when you talk about going forward, ChatGPT and some of the AI technologies, they're talking about the increase in productivity. This is the future. They're saying AI is going to open up 3-day work weeks, because the time that you would have had to spend doing X, Y, and Z, you can now devote or divert that time into doing something else to be productive. So you're talking about things that can increase work-life balance. Like, there's so many things that this is going to address in the future that we haven't even begun to scope out yet. So you can't say, well, my parents did this, am I getting dumber for that? It's like, no. It's like, what are all of the benefits that is going to be for you in the future, being able to utilize this technology? And one last thing I'll say is that, we talked a little bit about the fear, but I want to really, really, really encourage you all to think about the optimism that is in this room. Young people that are your age, possess a superpower, and that superpower is optimism. Optimism. Yes, that hope, and we were talking about this on the call last week. The people that are scared of Chat GPT and AI taking all the jobs, old people like me. There is no 18-year-old right now that's scared of AI taking all the jobs, because they haven't even got into the job force, and so you got to think about it from a future standpoint and what the possibilities are. Because it really is endless, and that book is literally being written as we speak.
So it's funny because the example that I was going to give you with response to your question, is AI making us dumber? There were some people who said when washing machines were invented that the women are getting lazier.
That's a good one.
So,
That's a good example. That's a really good example. That's a great
A
example.
man said that.
clearly the woman did not say this. The woman was working there. So it's about the possibilities.
Yeah.
It's not making us dumber. It's creating more equitable classrooms. It's creating equity in the classrooms. There are students coming from everywhere, from different levels of, of experience, of skill, knowledge, and AI helps me bring my students to the same level. And it helps me create a classroom that is equitable. And I think that is something that we need to focus on. Not making us dumber.
Definitely.
Well, I
Okay, one
understand
more
it, though.
question, and then we've got our raffle prizes to give out, so.
Nice. Yeah.
Well, you kind of asked the exact question that I was going to ask. Just speaking to like self-sufficiency, and they say give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, but teach him to fry fish, he'll eat for his lifetime. And you really answered that for me, but would you offer anything to like younger generations who didn't start off without this, who are being born and this is already here, they don't know about mental math, they're being born into relying on these things. What would you offer to say, I guess, kind of divert them from fully relying on AI and actually having some self-sufficiency?
That's a great question.
That's a really good point. I think again, kind of leaning into what I was sharing with them is each generation is going to have their thing, and so what you just said would be the equivalent of us saying, how do we not use our phones more, type of thing, because some people were born as smartphones, that's all they know. You know what I mean? So you can't unteach something that is culturally built into everything that we do. And so for the people that are being born now, I've got a 5-year-old. Like, it's no way to not teach her how to use AI. Like, she's totally gonna grow up with it. And she's gonna teach me, definitely. Even right now, the first interview that you do with any corporation is gonna be with an AI bot. Before any human does your interview, you're going to interview with an AI. And that's now. So just imagine, 15 years from now when my youngest daughter is getting into this stuff. So, it's the times, and I don't think it's one of those things where how do we, again, lean into the benefits, lean into, the possibilities. And I think that's where you'll be able to really do some interesting things.
And be excited about the change.
Yeah.
Don't be fearful of it.
Yeah.
It's like, when my youngest daughter, and I realized that she was too much on these touch screens when she went up to the television and tried to swipe because she would love the program. I was like, okay, well, this is a different level of... So be excited about the possibilities. Yes, there will always be fear, but you guys are at a great place here in Dallas College.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to learn, and take advantage of your faculty, of everything that's around you.
All right, well, I want to thank our panel for being here, sharing with us. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. Again, I think the big takeaway is none of us knows anything about this. Thank you so much.
That was really